Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
What's poppin', fam? Monday morning, October 24th. Your boy is here. What's poppin'? How's everybody doing? Was your weekend good? Hey, parents, getting ready, ramping up for Halloween. How's those costumes looking? The moms out there, did you make the costume? I always prefer for the parents to make the costume so it's a little more unique. My mom used to make mine. That's where you saw the French robot, the infamous French robot, which I will post every Halloween to the day I die. So you can bet your sweet chops I'm going to post that coming up here. I was this French robot, and I handed out croissants to all the kids, and my mom was not happy. There we are. Look at that, dude. What a lit outfit. What's that second one? Go to the second one in there. Okay.
I don't know what that is.
I think that's... Is that my brother? Because that's not me on the right.
It looks
like my brother, but I don't know who that is on the right. You know what? I think that someone might have recreated the French robot outfit there.
Happy Halloween? Oh, that didn't show up. Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
If I had to guess, so that looks like Jay, and this could be you.
That's not me.
I know, but it's,
no, I know for a fact.
Guess.
No, that is not me.
Or maybe just Jay and his friend.
I don't. Jay wouldn't make that face. I don't know if that is my brother.
Or maybe just two people that have similar-ish costumes to your French robot, and they just posted.
But my brother, that kid's not even a robot on the left. That's just like a weird.
But this
scarecrow.
This guy could be a robot.
I think that kid redid the French robot, and then if you see, then you go on the other one. It's me as a tiger and Jay as a ninja. That one's pretty lit too. Look at that, dude. Had the sweet Adidas on. My brother's probably willing to kill me if that was a real knife. It's not. My brother's so serious. God, I look like Bossy there. That's interesting, man. Yeah. So parents, shout out to all the parents out there. Oh wow. Yeah, that's me with my He-Man toy there. That's my son. That's Tiger.
That's
dude.
Tiger, yeah. When he's looking.
God, he's getting big. Look at his big mitts. There he is, his Buzz Lightyear too. Lit. Yeah, man, coming off a great weekend. Shout out to Salt Lake City Wise Guys, one of my favorite clubs. Shout out to Keith, one of my favorite clubs ever. I've headlined there, I don't know, 6 times. One of my very, very favorite clubs. Always a good time. And it was a big deal out there because for the first time ever, we decided to bring Fight Campaign on the road. You know, it's tough to pull off on the road. My boy Casey's here. He's the producer of it, and he was exhausted, and he was so nervous about it. But we pulled it off, man. I sent out the thick boy bat signal. My boy Jesse on Fire. If you don't know who Jesse on Fire is, you should. He's one of the main voices in the space as far as MMA goes. He has a big YouTube channel called Jesse on Fire. He's just an overall great dude. He's based out of Texas and decided to fly out just for his campaign when I sent out the thick boy bat signal. Then my boy Frankie on the right there, one of the legends of the sport. They both flew in. Frank was actually going to be there because him and his partner Harrison, partner, not like partner, LA partner, like his business partner Harrison came out there to come to the comedy show. So I was like, hey, how about you come a little early so we can knock out this companion? Because I can't remember the last time I was this excited for a UFC fight, man. I went to bed thinking about it. It's rare when you're this crunk for an entire card, and man, there was just some bangers. The top 4 card fights were bangers on the card. You had Belal Muhammed and Sean Brady on there in the prelims, which was ridiculous. So we tried to get it done. We pulled it off. Shout out to Casey and Chin for flying out there. Shout out to Keith at Wise Guys for allowing us the space to pull it off and having a good internet connection. Because the thing that makes Calabasas Fight Campaign or Salt Lake City Fight Campaign a challenge is it's live. And when you do live, you need a good internet connection. Otherwise, if that live feed goes down, the show's ruined. So it was a fun one, man. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it yet, we did do it live. But as soon as it goes live, once that live stream ends, it gets uploaded to the page as a regular episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's available right now. It's a good one. And this card was perfect to do a fight companion for because it was one hell of a card, man. I thought it lived up to the hype and then some. I thought the fights that I thought were going to be competitive weren't. And then the fights that I thought were going to be kind of, the big heavy favorite, those weren't. So that's what makes MMA great. My picks, let's see. I took Sean Brady over Muhammad. Belal, I love you, but, I'm a big Sean Brady fan. So I took Sean Brady. I was wrong on that. I took Dariush. I was right on that. I took Suga Sean. I was right on that. I took TJ. I was wrong on that. And then I took Charles. I was wrong on that. So what is that? I think I was 2 for 5. 2 out of 5. And out of those, the 2 that I won were the dogs. They were the dogs. And yeah. So I think Sean Brady was a slight favorite maybe going into it, right, Chin? So Brady was a favorite. Dariush was a slight underdog. Suga Sean was an underdog. TJ was an underdog. Charles Oliveira was an underdog. So I took all underdogs and one favorite. I definitely lost on the favorite against Sean Brady. But the card overall, I thought was fantastic, man. It was a great card. A lot to get into. So let's just jump right into this UFC 280 basically recap show. Let's jump right into the pool. I'm just going to cannonball right in, kids. We'll kick it off with Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Wow, what a freaking fight. What a performance for Muhammad. Muhammad's this guy who flies under the radar in that welterweight division a little bit, but if you look how active he's been and how many top 10 guys he's beat, especially in recent times, it's pretty damn impressive, man. So he's won. My God. It's very similar to Dariush, like these guys, man. So out of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 fights, he's lost 1. And out of his last 15 fights, right? So he's 13-2 out of his last 15. One of those fights, he beat the guy recently, Vicente Luque. So his last 15 fights, and that was in 2016, he lost to Vicente Luque. He got knocked out in a minute, which can happen. Vicente Luque is a savage. He ended up fully redeeming himself, so that's nullified. Besides that, he's only lost a decision to Neil. And he's beat, you ready? He's beat, he had the no contest against Leon Edwards. That was a shame. That'd been a big one for him. But then Damian Maia, Wonderboy Thompson, Vicente Luque. Remember Vicente Luque, before he fought Belal Muhammed, came on food truck, thought he was either going to get a title shot or Nate Diaz. They gave him Muhammad. Muhammad beat him pretty soundly for 3 rounds, right? That was 3 rounds? Or it was 5 rounds, sorry, for the 5-round fight. And then they give him the freaking Savage, the Philadelphia Savage, still Savage. They gave him the Philadelphia Savage, undefeated, young Philadelphian Lion, Sean Brady, which I thought was an awful matchup for him. And he kind of beat the brakes off of him. TKO punches. They could have stopped it earlier too. He came out and he got performance of the night too, which he definitely deserved. So hats off to Belal Muhammed for him at that welterweight division. They got to do something with him. When you've won 13 out of 15 and one of those fights, you redeem yourself and convincingly beat the guy for 5 rounds, you got to give him a top 3 matchup. You have to. I would love to see him against Colby Covington. I know they want to do the Khamzat thing. Belal Muhammad deserves it. And Belal falls into the same category, and we'll move on to the next fight, where Dariush at lightweight at 55, they give him Gamrot. And I was upset because I'm a Dariush fan. I love Dariush. I think he's such a talent. But, them giving him Gamrot's not doing him any favors. And he was also a slight underdog in that fight for a good reason. And he outshined Gamrot. And 2 of the judges gave it 30-27, which I thought they had that spot on. Dariush and Belal Muhammad are in this weird thing where they both definitely deserve title shots. Are they going to get it? Probably not, which is such a shame because they definitely deserve it. In any other sport, it's very black and white who's going to win, play for the championship. It's very black and white. UFC is a little different, right? Because there's some other things, other narratives that go into a guy getting a title shot. Both of them clearly, if this is 6-7 years ago, they both of them have already fought for a title. But the landscape's different now. Instagram followers, Twitter, Twitch, and all that shit, and it's selling the fight. Everything goes into that, which is a little shame. Because the UFC model isn't predicated off pay-per-view buys, right? Because now that their boss is Mickey Mouse and they get paid regardless of how many pay-per-views they sell. Obviously, they always want to do well, but you're getting paid regardless. So I would expect guys like Dariush and guys like Belal Muhammed to get title shots, but that's not the case. I thought Dariush had just an amazing performance. We knew Gamrot was going to come in heavy on the wrestling, but Dariush's grappling was the it factor there, and he was beating him in scrambles and just a ridiculous performance. He gets on the mic, and I told you guys going into this, A, he shouldn't have been fighting Gamrot. It's a nightmare of a match for him. B, part of the reason why he's not getting a title shot is because Dariush, he doesn't know any other way to do it because he's true to himself, and he's obviously has faith, and he's very religious, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm actually jealous of it. I wish I had more of it, and that's actually the Green Room Diary bit. And I sell myself on becoming Mormon, but they didn't accept me, which is a shame because I feel like it could bring some value to them. But they wouldn't let me in the church. So the point is, Dariush is organic to himself, and he gets on the mic and goes, I don't care about title shot. I'll fight 10 guys. I give all praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And he's just such a goody two-shoes, quote unquote, that it's hard for the UFC to market that. If that makes sense, unfortunately. But if you look at their landscape and the way they do business, it shouldn't matter. Dariush should be fighting for a title, but he's definitely not. And then also, they also weigh heavy on what you do when you give those WWE type promos when you get on the mic to help them navigate your next fight. So when he gets on there and goes, I don't care, I'll fight 10 guys until I get a title shot. Even if you look at his record, go to his record and it's ridiculous. You're probably going to fight 10 guys. The UFC goes, yeah, sure. You don't care. We don't care, man. We have other guys in line. 55's getting pretty, dicey. So he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in a row. One of those is over Tony Ferguson, and the over is over Gamrot, So there's definitely a case there to be had that he should be fighting for a title. What they shouldn't do in one of those fights was a fight of the night. He's had 3 performances of the night. So his fighting style doesn't match his cutting promos style. His fighting style, very entertaining, very loose, very dangerous. He gets clipped and it's game on for Dariush, and he's everything you want in a fighter except for what the UFC kind of awards, which is giving these WWE type promos. You're not going to see any guy in the WWE giving a Jesus Christ promo. So I don't know. They don't know what to do and be so goddamn good. The other thing, he's 33, so I don't know how long he's going to keep this up. So you could get a Tony Ferguson situation where they tried to give him title shots, but for whatever reason he was getting hurt. I don't think Dariush can get hurt, even though he got hurt before. But I think it's just be a matter by the time he gets there, Father Time's probably going to touch him on the shoulder. That's going to be too late, which is such a shame and isn't right. It just isn't. So that leads me to the next fight where if you watched The Companion or you watched Schaub Show last week, I said if Sean O'Malley wins, he's going to be the conversation no matter what happens with the other 2 fights, the main event and co-main event. I stick by that because Sean O'Malley's definitely the topic of conversation Monday morning on October 24th when the fight was on Saturday. He's the topic of conversation for a variety of reasons. A, the way he won. A, the controversial way he won with the judge's decision, split decision. And then also C, thirdly to that point, is he's also the biggest star on the card, and he did win. So it checks all boxes. Controversy, which the UFC loves and they can market, check. The star, the young lion, the colorful lion with pink hair that talks all this stuff and is very, dominant on social media and Twitch, check. And then also the biggest check to me, the biggest takeaway from all this, besides all the garbage going online right now and all the hate that Suga Sean's getting, is he's the real deal. He's the real deal, and he's an elite fighter. So, I text Sean O'Malley this morning, guys that get a lot of hate. I have my black belt in hate. I have my master's degree dealing with haters. and I told Sean O'Malley this is how I approach it. If what they're hating on right now infuriates them, which Suga Sean gives you a lot of reasons to hate him, right? He'll troll guys. Petr Yan won't touch me. Obviously, that's trolling. He knows he's going to get touched in a 3-round fight with Petr Yan, the number 1 bantamweight on the world. Of course he's going to get touched. He's doing that to get a rise out of you guys. He's trolling you, right? That's what he does. So he's giving you a lot of reasons to be mad at him. But if you thought you didn't like Suga Sean before, well, now the narrative on him was, oh, he's just getting these, snowball fights and he's not real. The UFC just wants to put him up there. He doesn't really have the skill set. He's not elite. Well, if you're mad at him before, well, I'm going to give you a lot more reasons to be mad at me now. So for Suga Sean, it's like if you hate him before and your narrative was he's not a real fighter, he hasn't beat anybody, he can't beat anybody in the top 5, he's never going to fight for a title, he's not that good of a striker, he's not elite, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's all gone. That's all gone. There's no way, even if you can't stand Suga Sean, there's no way you can watch that fight and go, he doesn't deserve to be in there with the top 3 guys in the world. Because not only did he show out and put on a great fight, even if he lost that decision, you can't tell me he's not a top 5 talent. Even if the judges sided with the majority of what the fan base and the MMA quote-unquote experts think, which there's really not a lot of experts in this space. Experts is such a loose term when it comes to sports so new. But people that cover it, most of the people that cover it, whether it's MMA Fighting, MMA Junkie, Sherdog, you name it, all those things, ESPN guys, all those major media outlets all scored it for Petr Yan. Let's say that it did go Petr Yan's way. Even if it did, you still can't sit here and tell me that Suga Sean is an elite. He proved all you guys wrong, all the haters wrong, that he is an elite, high-level UFC fighter. Matter of fact, now he's the elite. He's top 3, easily. As far as striking goes, there's a reason Petr Yan was shooting so much. And it ain't because he wanted to, because he's getting pieced up on the feet by a guy who's ranked number 11. You're ranked number 1. Petr Yan's known for his striking, right? His go-to isn't wrestling. His go-to usually is on the feet, his footwork, wearing the guy out, throwing combinations, knocking guys out. Didn't happen with Suga Sean, did it? Suga Sean's elite. So if you guys want something to hate on, man, you can take a big chunk out of it now. He's just getting started. So if you woke up this morning on the wrong side of the bed and you're upset that this guy with pink hair, the rainbow hair, and the tattoos, and he's hanging out with Tekashi 6ix9ine, if you hate him before, he's just getting started. You have a lot of animosity towards that man now, because if you thought he was big before, he just beat the number 1 bantamweight in the world. No matter how you feel about it, he beat him. But let's talk about numbers. Let's just talk about the fight. In our sport, there's always these terms that get popular and become this regurgitating theme because people don't think for themselves. So it's, he's chinny, right? That for a long time, he's chinny. He's chinny. Chinny was a thing. Chin was a thing. I'm not saying my producer chin. I'm talking about if a guy lost, whether he had 10 knockouts and was on a 10-fight win streak, he gets clipped. Oh, he's chinny. It's this whole chin thing. That kind of went away. People got more educated. It's very rare they use it. Maybe it's a veteran and he is getting knocked out. Like an example of a person where we say their chin's gone would be Bigfoot Silva, right? That guy, I will accept if you say he's chinny. That works in that case. For the rest of the guys, it doesn't really work, and the audience moved on from him and got more educated, so we stopped using that. Well, now the new term is he got robbed. It's a robbery. Whether it's a decision, whatever, split decision, majority decision, he got robbed. I don't think you guys know what the term robbery means if you're going around throwing that term out there, especially in the case of Suga Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. Nobody got robbed. Nothing is a robbery here. It was a split decision. A robbery would be a guy who clearly wins 3 or 5 rounds, clearly dominates, and then the judges give it the complete other way. The complete other way, 30-27, 50, 50-45. That's a robbery. It's like, Jesus Christ. Robbery, for example, for you guys that like to use the term, would be, in the sport of boxing, it'd be Canelo versus Triple G, the first one. That's a robbery. Triple G definitely won that, but they had the fixers in for Canelo. All good. He did it. Then he ended up, the second fight, you could also call it robbery. The third one, you can't. Canelo validated himself and beat him there, even though he was a lot older. Either way, that first one would be a robbery. A robbery would be Robbie Lawler Condit for the belt. A robbery would be Machida Shogun Rua. Those are robberies where it's clear as day the other guy dominated. A robbery would be for you guys to use it so you sound educated when you use the term robbery, because you're using it so much it's lost its meaning. Because now every robbery, oh, that's a robbery. No, it's not. You know what the fuck you're talking about. A robbery would be Johnny Hendricks GSP. That's a robbery. This isn't a robbery. Johnny Hendricks, no matter who you talk to, you look at that, he won multiple rounds, the majority of the rounds. You might give GSP one there. I could see maybe two. Sure as hell, and no facet three. But these judges did. That would be a robbery. This is not a robbery. If you go back and watch the fight, which I have 4 times now before I came in here and made this point, if you go through the rounds 1, 2, and 3, it would be tough if you take it without a biased viewpoint, with however you feel about Suga Sean. If you know a thing or two about the way they score fights, they have a criteria, so it takes out the bias of the fight. So if you went into the fight a huge Petr Yan fan, it doesn't matter. You have to score it on these certain topics. You have to. These certain things, cage control, damage being number one. Just so let's make it clear before I make this point. For the judges, the number one determining factor of a round is damage, right? Remember that before I make this case. The number one criteria in order to decide who wins a round is damage, not takedowns, not holding the guy down, not octagon control, not aggressiveness, not submissions thrown, not kicks landed, not punches thrown. The number one thing, and you have got to get this in your goddamn minds for say robbery, the number one thing is damage. So let's go through the fight. First round is where you're going to have most controversy. First round, even though Petr Yan landed that big takedown, what did he do with that takedown? If you got to put yourself in the mind of a judge at UFC 80 in Abu Dhabi in the arena there, and if you're judging this thing and you're going based off damage, which is number one indicator of how we judge a round, number one, right? You go through that first round, and the reason why the first round is so important, because the second and third are clear as day who won those rounds. Second round is Petr Yan. Third round is Suga Sean. Easy to score. Those are easy fight score. If you sit back and analyze those rounds and go based off the judging criteria, which I did not design, I have nothing to do with it, but that's how they judge the fight. So if you're going to judge the fight based the way the judges do it, which is the only thing that matters, because that's who decides who wins and loses a fight. Based off the damage done of those rounds, 2 and 3, the second would go to Petr Yan, although damage wasn't really inflicted, but although... Remember, so damage number one, if there's no damage being done, you got to go down the line. So next would be takedowns control. All right. So if no damage done in the second round, takedowns control. Second round, Petr Yan landed those takedowns, controlled them for the most part. Not a lot of damage was done, though, down there. So we can't really judge it based off damage. So then we go to control and takedowns with two most significant things in that second round. That's Petr Yan all day. Second round, Petr Yan all day. Third round, if we go to the number one judging criteria, which is damage, it's not even close. If you want to, and it doesn't always tell the narrative of a fight, but if you want to go to the CompuStrike numbers, I think Sugar landed like 40 to 15 or some shit like that. Those aren't exact numbers, but it was in that realm. Also, the knee, which split Petr Yan open in the third round, was the most significant damage done in 15 minutes of that fight. You would give Suga Sean that third round. Clear as day. Second round, Petr Yan, clear as day. First round, that's where you have an argument. Now, when I was watching it, and always take with a grain of salt if you're watching the Salt Lake City fight campaign right now after you listen to this rant. If you're watching that and you go, well, you scored it for Petr Yan. I did, but remember, I'm barely paying attention. All I see... I see some shots landed. If it's a big one and everyone goes, oh, I'll see that. I'm drinking. All right. There's some Tiger Thick flowing through my veins. And third of all, I just see the takedown, the control, and when I'm looking, but then remember, I'm the captain of the ship. I have to manage to make sure the show's entertaining, getting Frank to talk and getting Jesse to talk. I got to manage these different personalities while trying to pay attention to the fight. So never take what I say in the moment of a fight companion to heart. So what I do, so I have a better perspective on it, is I go back and watch those fights that are close so I can really pay attention. I don't listen to the commentating because that can also, and I haven't listened to the commentating on this. I never do, especially before I'm breaking a fight down. I listen to it in silence. When the kids go to, I drop them off at school. I come back. I watch the fight over and over and over. Thank God this one's 15 minutes, so I was allowed to watch it a few times. So when you watch it and you're not swayed by the commentating, because a lot of times when I hear Robbery, I go, I bet the commentating was also a little biased towards a certain fighter, because again, a lot of people are sheep. They don't think for themselves. They hear the commentary from these experts, legit experts, and they can skew or sway a fan base. So I don't engage in that. I don't listen to any of that. So if you take out your bias, you take out the commentating, you watch that fight, you watch the first round, punches landed, kicks landed, the body shots. And if you're old school like me, and I always favor wrestling and grappling usually in fights, you're going to give it to Petr Yan. But if you watch it, the way they judge a fight, which all that matters, you might say, well, he didn't stop the takedown, he didn't do this, and Petr Yan controlled him for this amount of time. It does not matter. The way they judge the fight, if significant strikes landed and damage done. And Suga Sean did that in that first round, and that's why I would give the first round to Suga Sean. Second round, Petr Yan. Third round, Suga Sean all fucking day. If you don't give the third round to Suga Sean, you're just a hater and you're biased, and that's all good. I've been there, but it's not real. You know what's real? The judges' scorecard. And the judges' scorecard had it 29-28 for Suga, 28-29 for Petr Yan, and then the most important one, 29-28 for Suga, which gave Suga the split decision over the number one bantamweight in the world. And not only did it validate how fucking good Suga Sean is, but it gave all you haters out there more to chew on. So if you hated Suga Sean before, I'm telling you, the kid's just getting started. This was his first big test, and he passed it with flying colors. Win, lose, or draw, doesn't matter. Suga Sean is elite, and you guys hate that. And one of the things that makes Suga Sean so polarizing and so massive and popular is because all this talk, all this noise online, which none of it matters, all this talk, all this stuff just feeds in. You're doing promo for Suga. All the hate anybody gets, whether it's a comic, an athlete, a fighter, an actor, you're giving them free promo because most people think for themselves. So you might cut a YouTube video and go, Suga Sean's the worst fighter ever. Someone's going to click on that. Suga Sean's in your mind. Suga Sean's out there. You're putting more Suga Sean content out there. More people are going to regurgitate that. More people need to get that. But most of them form their own opinion, but you're just giving him free promo. You're giving free promo. Makes him bigger. Makes the machine bigger. Makes people want to see him. Win or lose, makes them want to see him. Floyd Mayweather pay-per-view model. We weren't tuning in for the most part to see Floyd Mayweather put on an amazing performance because he fought pretty safe. He was so damn good at it. He's the best of all time. You were tuning in to see him lose. Floyd Mayweather's bank account does not care if your $80 for that pay-per-view came because you hate him or because you love him. The bank accounts don't care. Suga Sean's bank account and his negotiation with the UFC does not care. Whether it's, hey, these million people tune in because they want to see Suga lose, cool. These million people tuned in because they want to see Suga win, cool. It's all the same at the end of the day. So your hate for Suga Sean is helping him. It's building the machine. It's fueling the rocket ship that is tied to his back now. That not only did he prove every single buddy wrong, but now there's nothing you can do to take this away from him. However you feel about it, on Monday morning, Suga Sean O'Malley will be ranked probably in the top 2 in the world in the bantamweight division. If he's not in the top 2, that's just bullshit. because the guy's clearly elite, and you guys didn't think he was, and you were wrong. So if you hate him before, man, he has a lot more work to do. You're gonna hate him even more now because he is getting his next title shot. He is gonna be the next guy in line to get a title shot. Now for Suga Sean, when he got on the mic, exhausted, 3 rounds, he goes, I'll have to watch the fight. I'm not even sure I won that fight. I don't know if I deserve a title shot. I'll have to watch it before I talk about it. Trust me, he's going to get back on his social media, which is bigger than the crowd that was tuning in to UFC 280. He's going to get on there. I bet you he'll vindicate himself and say, after watching, I definitely deserve it. Because he probably feels a certain type of way because he's never been in that type of fight before. So he didn't do the usual Suga thing where I didn't get touched. I told you going to smoke him, because he was in an actual dogfight with the #1 bantamweight in the world, and he beat him. No, he didn't. Doesn't matter. The judges gave it to him. Your opinion on this does not matter. My opinion on this does not matter. At the end of the day, and throughout history, when we look back on this fight card, all it says, no matter how you feel about it, how you scored at home, how you and your drunk buddies scored it, who have never fought before, how all you guys scored, it does not matter. Suga Sean won this fight. Those are in the record books. That's all that matters. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst Twitter. Talk amongst Reddit. Talk amongst ShareDog. Talk amongst the forums. Talk amongst YouTube comments. All that noise builds these guys that you hate even bigger. Even bigger. You're helping the machine out. You're helping put money in Suga Sean's pocket. So continue on. Shout out to Suga Sean. You did it, buddy. You did it. Now, was it a Conor Aldo moment? No. There's not a Conor Aldo moment because he didn't just starch him and walk off after 19 seconds. I think this was more important for Suga Sean fans because him going 3 hard rounds and being controversial, going back and forth. We see Suga, he looked tired in that second round, came out the third, won the third, significantly won the third, that huge knee, landing huge punches, wobbling Petr Yan. We've never seen Petr Yan in so much trouble. He was damn near about to get finished, getting rocked so many times, taking Suga down, which we expected, but then really not doing anything with it. Suga's takedown defense actually better than we thought. Suga's defense down there is actually better than we thought. If you're a fan of Suga, we didn't want the 19-second knockout. We wanted to see if Suga was a stock, if he was a New York a stock, right? If he's on the stock market. Here's the thing for all those Suga fans out there. He validated everybody's kind of questions about Suga. Is he elite? Can we bet on this guy? Can we bank on this guy when the going gets rough and it's not going his way and he gets taken down? And if he gets rocked on the feet, how's he going to respond? We've never seen it. So it's hard to bet on that guy. Well, guess what? We've seen it. We've seen it. We know when he gets the title shot against Aljamain Sterling, when the going gets rough, Suga's not going to quit. I'll bet on that guy. He's a fighter's fighter. He's a real fighter. I know he has purple hair, pink hair, where the hell it is today, and rainbow hair. But at the end of the day, you strip all that down. You take the chains off, the tattoos off, the twitch off, the hanging out, the appearances with Tekashi 6ix9ine and whoever the hell else he's hanging out with, and him and his coaches are wild and all that stuff. You strip all that away. At the end of the day, after UFC 280, there's no doubt about it. Suga Sean is one of the best bantamweights on the planet, hands down. And I can't wait for for him to get a title shot. Now, after watching that fight, is Aljamain a tougher fight? Probably. He's going to have his hands full there. But at least I know I can bet on him. I know he's not going to give up. I know when it comes to the feet, he can definitely outstrike Aljamain. When it's on the feet, I'd be willing to bet Sterling's not going to play that game. There's a reason for that, because he's going to watch that Petr Yan tape, go kick and fight. For the first time ever in Suga's career, even if you hate the guy, you watch the 15 minutes of him fighting Petr Yan, there's not a single person in the world that can't say Suga Sean's not elite and he can't fight. That narrow's out the window. What else you got? What else you guys going to run on? You got to come up with something. What is it? He didn't beat Petr Yan. That's all noise. Doesn't matter. He did. Straight up. Doesn't matter what you think. He beat him. What else you got? Keep going. You got haters out there. You got to come up with something better for Suga. What else you got? Come on. You got to come up with something. You guys should all get together. I don't know where you guys meet. whether it's a PF Chang's, a Starbucks, I don't know where the hell all these Suga's haters meet. You get whoever the ringleader is, and you got to come up with a new narrative. Because the narrative, oh, he's not a real fighter, he's not elite, that doesn't work here. He didn't win, that doesn't work here. I guess the narrative could be, oh, he's going to get beat up by Aljamain Sterling. All right, that's fine. That's a fun one. Do that. Shout out to Suga Sean. You fucking did it, dude. Good for you. Let's take a little break for me chatting your ear off about UFC 280 and why Suga Sean won this freaking fight. Tour news. Listen, I'm in Calgary, Canada this Thursday, Friday. We just added a show Friday because Thursday's damn near sold out. So we added a show this Friday at the Rooftop in downtown Calgary. That's Canada, baby. So I'm coming on up there, one of my favorite markets. And then next week, it's Heavy Texas for 2 weeks in a row. Next week is San Antonio, Texas, November 3rd through the 5th. I'm in San Antonio at the LOL. And then the other thing, the next week I'm in Houston. So it's next week, San Antonio, Texas. Then the following week, November 10th through the 12th, I'm in Houston, Texas at the Houston Improv, one of my favorite spots as well. I love Texas. So I have a Texas tattoo. I've never not sold out in Texas. So here's the thing, though. Texas, one of the biggest markets when it comes to Tiger Thick. So we're doing a big push there. We have bottles at every show I just told you about. Calgary will have Tiger Thick. San Antonio will have Tiger Thick. Houston will have Tiger Thick. Also in San Antonio and Houston, because I'm in all the spec stores out there, I'll be doing a meet and greet and giving out Tiger Thick. Come try Tiger Thick. Come take pictures. Come have me sign whatever you got. Whatever you got, I'll announce which specs it is exactly as we get closer to those dates. But come see your boy at one of the specs, one of the liquor stores out in Texas, in San Antonio and Houston. But if you haven't had a chance to get the award-winning Thick Nectar, you can do it in Calgary, San Antonio, Houston, Milwaukee, Providence, and Washington. But really in San Antonio and Houston, big push there. We'll have all the bottles there. In Salt Lake, we ran out of the Tiger Thick within the first 2 shows, so they clearly didn't ship enough, but we still have cases of it. So San Antonio, Houston, come see me, come meet me, try it, talk about the whiskey, take pictures, do what everyone do, arm wrestle, take pictures of your babies, and try some of that Tiger Thick Sweet Nectar. And if you want it delivered to your crib, go to thickboy.com. It will show up at your door. You'll see you can click on a tab that says Tiger Thick, fill out from there, shows up at your door, easy peasy Japanese. All right. This episode of the Schaub Show UFC 280 recap is brought to you by Avast. Avast One is a global leader in cyber protection for more than 30 years. It's trusted by over 435 million users and prevents over 1.5 billion attacks every month. Avast empowers you with digital safety and privacy, no matter who you are, where you are, or how you get connected. Enjoy the opportunities that come with being connected on your terms. Avast's new all-in-one solution, Avast One, helps you take control of your safety and privacy online through a range of features, all right? Avast One is their best protection yet, giving you everything you need to take control of your safety and privacy online, all right? And it's accessible through a single, easy-to-use interface. And we got you, man. Avast privacy features keeps your identity and actions hidden. Maybe you're at a freaking coffee shop doing business. You're using some Wi-Fi for everybody at the airport. You're at the library, wherever you're at. Who goes to libraries these days? You know what I'm saying. You got to protect yourself. People are stealing information. We live in a digital world, and we're some digital girls, man, and we just got to figure it out and protect ourselves. That's why I love Avast One. They have antivirus, award-winning antivirus that stops viruses and malware from harming your devices, a VPN allowing you to connect safely and securely in public like Starbucks, Coffee Bean, wherever you're at, using their Wi-Fi. You don't want anybody knowing where you're at. This makes it so they have no clue where you're at. We got you covered, man. Thanks to Avast for supporting the Schaub Show. Confidently take control of your online world with Avast One. It helps you stay safe from viruses, phishing attacks, ransomware, hacking attempts, and other cyber crimes. All right. Learn more about Avast One at avast.com. Avast.com. Go check them out. This episode of the Schaub Show is also brought to you by Happy Hippo. That's right, happyhippo.com. Promo code STICKBOY. You get 20% off for live from the best kratom on the planet. Any show you see me do, this long rant, maybe you listen to it, or maybe you're going back and listen to it. That long rant about Suga Sean, I wish I could say is due to my immaculate brain. It's not. It's due to Happy Hippo Kratom. Those long rants are brought to you by Happy Hippo Kratom. It allows me just to fire exactly when I need to. It gets me ready to go. Helps me just focus and get into the freaking zone, baby. And I only trust one kratom. It's Happy Hippo. So if you've always wanted to try kratom, they have pills, they have powders, they have gummies, they have their pink lemonade shot, which I use before every single show, whether I'm doing stand-up, podcasting. I do way too many podcasts, so I'm taking a ton of kratom. I feel fine. It's all natural, tastes great. Do the shot, get to work. HappyHippo.com. Promo code StickBoy, 20% off for life. Share it with anybody you want to, and you can use that code as many times as you want. You get 20% off the best kratom on the planet. HappyHippo.com. Promo code StickBoy, 20% off for life. Now let's get back to the program. And then with Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw, this one was disheartening. And I know a lot of people are upset at TJ. Like, hold on. Your shoulder popped out 20 times during camp, and you still took this fight knowing. Now, there's also another high-profile fighter that did this. His name's Manny Pacquiao, against probably the biggest boxing fight of my lifetime, against Floyd Mayweather. And people, I think, tried to sue Manny Pacquiao because we still paid whatever that $100 for that pay-per-view, and he had one arm in that fight. Now, boxing is different than MMA. If you have one arm in MMA, you fucked. I don't have hate for TJ Dillashaw in any facet here. So people go, why would he even take the fight? Well, he's, 34, 35, 36 years old? 36. 2 of those years during his prime were taken away from him, obviously justifiably so, because, he got busted for EPO by USADA. So he missed 2 years in his prime. And if you listen to last week's show on why you should root for TJ, because the comeback story, and after all the shit he's been through, like Andy Dufresne crawling through that shit, he made it to the other side, and they gave him, Corey Sandhagen, and he beat him. Oh, he didn't beat him. Doesn't matter. On the scorecard in history, they haven't beat him, so he did beat him, and then he gets a title shot. Having my background at fighting at UFC at a high level, and I look at TJ and his age and these injuries and going through everything, I would have taken the fight too. Because if TJ goes, I'm hurt, they fill in somebody else, TJ drops back in the queue, you get another savage at bantamweight, maybe it's Cheeto, maybe it's Arnold Allen coming up through the fucking rankings, you're going to get some savage. I don't know if you're going to get back to this title shot. Now, are you going to beat Aljamain Sterling on one arm? He'd be tough to beat on 2. So your chances of winning, it's a Hail Mary. It's a Hail Mary against the best defense of all time. It's a Hail Mary, and you're at your 1 yard line, and you got to throw the ball 99 yards, and you got to pray to God that somebody does something, Michigan Miracle, University of Colorado, Michael Westbrook, Cordell Stewart type of shit. But there's a chance, and you want to take that chance because he's never going to get back there. And I respect it. I respect it. I'm not mad at TJ. I'm mad that his body didn't hold up and his shoulders popping out. And a lot of this is because TJ goes so goddamn hard in the paint during training camp. You get most of those injuries, all those residual injuries, it all catches up to you. When you go that hard, you train as hard as he does. His knee injury, I would assume a lot of that was predicated off the way he came into that camp, the way he was training. He goes so hard. His shoulders falling apart. He's built like the girl off Nightmare Before Christmas. It's sewn up, right? He has all these injuries and all the years of wrestling in college at University of California, Fullerton, and then the training camps and the Ultimate Fighter and the days at Team Alpha Male, and then the days at Dwayne Ludwig's and Muscle Farm and High Altitude and all this shit finally caught up with him, right? And his body's falling apart because you can't run it in 6th gear no matter what size you are for that long without some things falling apart. It just so happened that his body starts to fall apart when he's finally getting a title shot against Aljamain Sterling. So for all those haters out there of TJ Dillashaw going, how dare you do this to us? This isn't the fight that we deserve and we paid for this. Put yourself in TJ's shoes. Father of 3, I think now. Businesses. Took 2 years away from the sport because he got busted. You have all this narrative. You have all this shit. And I would be willing to bet if he stepped away and they tossed in somebody else, he's never going to get back there. So you're going to do the best you can. Unfortunately, Aljamain Sterling's pretty damn good. And no matter what, I think it's fair to say that Aljamain Sterling is the best bantamweight on the planet. Even TJ Dillashaw with one arm, it'd be a tough fight for him. There's a reason he was a dog. So you can't take anything against Aljamain. And I don't think there should be a asterisk on this fight going, well, Aljamain beat him on one arm. Aljamain also beat Petr Yan. Again, no, he didn't. Okay, dude, he didn't. But no matter how you feel about it, in the record books, in the judge's eyes, all that matters, you and your buddy sitting around the couch eating potato chips and drinking beer, scored it for Petr Yan. Doesn't matter. Aljamain beat him. He's the best in the world. He just beat TJ Dillashaw. But he only had one arm. Aljamain can't do anything about that. So he did what he did, and he absolutely fucking mollywopped TJ with one arm. It wasn't even a fight, right? So that leaves the co-main event. So that co-main event and the main event, I thought were going to be the best fights on the card. The Suga Sean one, I thought Suga was maybe going to land some a knee and get him out of there early. I thought if it went to decision, Petr Yan was probably going to lose. I wish the Suga Sean fight was 5 rounds. I think it was 5 rounds. Suga would have finished him. And if only Suga Sean's fans were like the Diaz Bros fans. I'm not sitting here trying to validate why Suga won. I wouldn't have to do that. But I feel like I have to do that on this Monday morning because all the bullshit online. So if Nicotine Kid here, if Suga Sean had Nate Diaz fan base or Nick Diaz fan base, remember when Nick Diaz fought Leon Edwards and got dominated? So for the last 30 seconds of the 5th round, he landed something. And the whole narrative was, man, if that was 30 more seconds, Nate would have won. That was the complete narrative. There was no other narrative. His fan base is so loud and so rabid that they just went nuts going, man, 30 more seconds, that fight's over. Even though he dominated. He got dominated. For 4 rounds of that fight, 4 rounds, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, Nate's not even close to winning that fight. Leon Edwards whooped his ass. But 30 seconds left, he takes his eye off the clock. He gets clocked. Boom. Say clock twice, whatever. He gets clocked. He takes his eyes off the clock. He gets clocked. The whole narrative was Nate Diaz should have won that fight. If there's only 30 more seconds, he'd been out of there. It wasn't how good Leon Edwards looked. None of that. That was not the narrative in any facet. Because Leon Edwards' fan base isn't as loud or as massive as Nate Diaz. Neither is Suga Sean's. So now we're dealing with this. We're dealing with he didn't win that fight, but if he had that crazy fan base like Nate, and if that was Nate, you guys would be foaming at the dick to validate Nate winning that fight and how he won that fight. It wasn't even close. There's no robbery, blah, blah, blah. Can't see him the title shot. You guys would be making, Nate's champ, 209. He's the champ, all the bullshit everybody does when any fighter has a massive fan base, even though it's not real and it's not justified. These guys with these rabid fan bases paint the narrative. They're the loudest online. None of that's real. None of that's real. What's real is Suga won. What's real is Leon Edwards won, right? That's all that matters. That's all the UFC cares about. I've heard some quote-unquote experts in the field go, Suga Sean, if he's looking at it, he's probably like, ooh, if I get some holes to fill, I'll take one more fight and then go for a title shot. No, what are you, out of your fucking mind? No. The UFC's put a rocket ship on Suga's back. He's already there. You can justify him fighting for a title right now because he just beat the #1 bantamweight in the world named Petr Yan. He beat him. No matter how you paint the picture, he beat him. There's no other direction to go but a title shot. You get past that Russian fucking nightmare, Petr Yan, you get a title. Them the rules. All right? Let's take a little break. I'm sure you guys could use a little break out there while you're driving to work, maybe driving home from work. You listen to that at home, and you're just like, man, my brain's a little foggy. I'm not firing all cylinders. I wish I could form better sentences like Joe Rogan. I wonder what he uses. I'm letting you in on a little secret, a little trick of the trade for the podcasters, comedians out there that you guys always listen to. They're on the best nootropics on the planet. They trust one brand only. It's Onnit. Onnit.com/Schaub, Schaub. You get 10% off the best freaking nootropic on the planet. We're talking about Alpha Brain. It helps you get in that flow state. All right. And it's proven. They've done many, many tests to prove that's the best nootropic on the planet. If you don't want to order it and help your boy out and use Onnit.com/Schaub, go to your local Walmart and go ahead and pick it up. All right. Here's the best thing. Alpha Brain and Onnit, they're so sure you're going to love Alpha Brain. If you don't love it, it's risk-free. You get your money back. No questions asked. Give them 2 weeks. They're going to resend your freaking money, and you can keep it. How about that? That's how confident Onnit and I am of Alpha Brain. You have no reason not to try it. Also, if you're a little worry about caffeine, stuff like that. It's caffeine free. So you don't need energy drinks. You don't need coffee. You don't need any of that stuff. It's caffeine free. Getting the zone. Best nootropic on the planet. We're talking about Alpha Brain from Onnit. And you can save 10% off, not just Alpha Brain, but the entire Onnit site, whether it's freaking multivitamins, protein powders, elk bars. You want some workout equipment? Say less. You save 10% off by going to onnit.com/Schaub, Schaub. But also try the best nootropic on the planet for 10% off. Shows up at your door. Onnit.com/Schaub, 10% off. Now let's get back to the program. So in that co-main event, main event, those were two fights I thought were going to go. They're going to be barn burners. I thought Danny was going to be giving out a bunch of bonuses. He's going to have to figure out, man, those were such great fights back and forth. I'm giving both of them fight of the night, performance of the night, right? Boy, was I wrong. Aljamain absolutely mollywopped TJ with one arm. And then Islam Makhachev, who I don't mind coming in here on Monday morning. When last Monday, and I'm fighting a kid, I bet Brian Callen that Charles Oliveira was going to win. I was under the assumption that Islam Makhachev, I've only heard how good he is from his training partners and his coaches. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the best lightweight on the planet. I haven't seen it. Until you show me, I'm not willing to co-sign that. Frank Mir goes, I agree. I like Charles Oliveira in the fight. I think most MMA heads were under the impression that Charles Oliveira is so dangerous for 25 minutes. If Islam's just going to go in there, wrestle him, he's going to have his hands full. Even though Javier Mendez, Josh Thompson, Khabib, everyone's telling us, no, he's the best to ever do it. Josh Thompson, last 2 weekends ago, when I was in San Jose doing shows on tour, the Oh He Thick tour, which I'm in Calgary this Thursday. We had a show Friday because Thursday has 5 tickets left, so we had a show on Friday. Next week, I'm in San Antonio and then Houston, right? And then I end the month in Milwaukee. Then it goes Providence, Rhode Island. But the point is I'm in Calgary, San Antonio, Texas. And I'm sorry, San Antonio and Houston coming up, and Calgary. This week's Calgary. But I was in San Jose, and Josh comes to the show, comes with Rich Chow. Shout out to Rich Chow, one of my favorite people on the planet. But when I saw Josh, and I know obviously he's biased, he's the AK guy, he's team captain AK, I go, dude, Islam Charles, how's Islam get it done? And he goes, oh, walks through him, easy fight. Easiest fight he's ever had. I went, dude, you're out of your fucking mind. He goes, I'm telling you, I see the guy in the training room. I go, Josh, you talking about practice. Javier Mendez is best of all time. You guys talking about practice. His resume, it's not that impressive. Who's he beat? That was my thing even to Callen. Who's he beat? I'll bet you $2,000 on it. And, I've lost all this money and told my agent bet all this money on it. And he's not talking to me right now. Point is, Islam is who everyone said he is. The guy's fucking good. Not only is he good, he's great. He made it look easy. It was not a tough fight for him. And I think the most surprising thing, and if you're not an Islam fan, what you're going to have to deal with is not only is he a splash of Khabib on the ground, I think he's different than Khabib. I hate the comparison to Khabib. Obviously, they're like brothers, and Khabib's father, who I think should be the narrative on this UFC 280 card, is the father's plan. He took these two young boys who were best friends, who grew up like brothers in that training room in Dagestan, carrying rocks up a mountain, wrestling goats, where the hell they're doing. He took these two young boys and arguably out of them from nothing made the two best lightweights to ever fucking do it. From Dagestan, not a giant place, not known for their UFC champions. He has the first Dagestan champion of all time, Khabib. Some argue he's the best of all time. I would fight back on that, but there's argument there. And now he has another champion in Islam. He said they're both going to be champs. This was the father's plan. How that guy, even though he's passed away, which is such a shame, the world could use more people like him, but the narrative that this dad took these two young Dagestani boys and created and molded them into the best to ever do it, you know what the fucking chances of that is? If someone came up to that dad, I'm sure somebody did. If somebody came up to that dad when those two boys were 5 years old, 6 years old, and they go, man, these two, they're pretty good, huh? What's the plan? He's like, excuse me? Oh, the plan? They're the best two lightweights in the UFC of all time. They're going to dominate. They're going to dominate. You go, you're out of your fuck. Both of them? Get the fuck out of it. Maybe one would be tough, Pops. Both? That's your plan? That's father's plan? Are you out of your mind? He goes, I'm not. You'll see. What's the odds? 2 of them. Not one. Khabib doing his thing. Not his son, who's put all his effort into it. Both of them. Both of them dominate. And here's what's going to hurt your feelings if you're not a Dagestani fan or you're not an Islam fan. He's going to do it for a long time. His style is predicated and structured in a way that he doesn't take a lot of damage. He doesn't take a lot of risk. And there's some monsters come through the ranks. There's some fucking young lions come through the ranks. Problem is, if you're not an Islam or Dagestani fan and you don't like his fighting style, the way he's programmed, he doesn't take a lot of risk and he dominates in every aspect of mixed martial arts. On the feet, he's light years better than Khabib. On the ground, maybe he's a notch below. Oh, cool. So he's just a slight notch below the best to ever do it. When it comes to grappling, I'll take that. And this, Khabib's dad, the dad plan, father's plan, worked out to a fucking T. It never got dicey for Khabib, right? I guess the Michael Johnson fight, the Conor fight, he struggled a little bit, but he still dominated both those gentlemen in all retrospect. And then with Islam, right? He had the one fight he gets knocked out in. Cool. Leading up to this, I thought Josh Thompson was out of his mind. I thought Javier Mendez was out of his mind. I thought Khabib was just drinking the Islam Kool-Aid. I know he knows a thing or two about fighting, but still, it's like your brother. Of course, you're going to be biased. God damn, with these guys, right? That motherfucker is bad. That's a bad man, as Stephen A. Smith says. That is a bad man. I don't know how you can beat him. He's damn good at striking, too. Doesn't really get hit a lot. Charles Oliveira landed some good punches. That was not Islam's toughest fight. They were right. He walked through them. They fight 100 times. He wins 99. Charles could land a jumping knee, a fucking spinning elbow, something. That'd be his one win. But Islam shows up in the right frame of mind. He's beaten Charles Oliveira 99 out of 100 times. And that's a tough pill to swallow for you Brazilians out there. But that's what it is. Islam Makhachev is the real deal. And what's absolutely brilliant, and the UFC loves this, is they have a gentleman named Alex Volkanovski sitting cage side who fancies himself going to 155. He's talked about this super fight. Islam wins the fight. He calls out Volkanovski. Volkanovski's cage side. Not only does he call him out, they're aware that there's a UFC pay-per-view in Perth, Australia. So he goes, hey, Volkanovski, why don't you get in here? You fancy yourself, you're ranked number 1 pound for pound GOAT in the world, right? Pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world. I'm the best lightweight in the world. You want to come up here? Let's fight not only for Volkanovski's title, the lightweight title, but let's fight for the pound for pound title as well. So you have 3 big titles on the line. Volkanovski wants to do it. He's cage side. They get in there. They know the lay of the land with the big pay-per-view come up in Perth. Let's do it in Perth. Volkanovski goes, let's do it. The UFC has no other choice to make that fight. That is the fight. They've structured it. They have the promo there. They did the promo on the mic. Volkanovski's in there. They face off. That's signed, sealed, delivered. The UFC is probably working on it as we speak. That's Makhachev's next fight. No matter what happens. Jesse on Fire was saying, and I definitely value his opinion, he goes, if Chandler gets done against Poirier like in a big fashion, that's the fight. I disagree. It's very rare you have a guy as dominant as Alexander Volkanovski in a weight class below who wants to come up, right? It's very rare. It's perfect timing. It's just the perfect timing. And it just happens they have the big pay-per-view in Perth. It just so happens Islam called him out. And also, from what I've heard from very close sources to Islam, his kind of the knock on Islam was he doesn't show up when the lights are the brightest. He doesn't like all the interviews, all the attention. He just wants to do his job, get the fuck out. So sometimes it can be a lot for him. He doesn't fight to his true potential. But if he does, you have the best lightweight to ever do it. Well, if you've seen his demeanor while he was walking out to the cage in Abu Dhabi, when he's walking out there, you realize pretty loose. The lights didn't get to him. Oh shit, he passed the test. Oh wow. The one kind of caveat there, if the lights are too bright, he's not going to show up. He showed up. That's out the window. You won't hear it from me anymore. Jesus Christ, what a performance. even that being the performance of the night, I'm sure they gave him the performance bonus. I don't know how they decided. So fight of the night, O'Malley, Petr Yan. Performance of the night, Makhachev and Muhammad. They nailed that all day, every day. They got it right. So even with Islam completely mollywopping, walking through Charles Oliveira like acai on a hot summer day in fucking Rio, and calling out the pound for pound number one guy in the world, Alexander Volkanovski, and he was cage side, and he gets in there, and they face off. I told you guys, the narrative is still Suga Sean O'Malley. He's the biggest star on the card. He's the topic of conversation right now, good or bad. I don't care. I didn't say it was going to be good or bad. I just said if Suga Sean pulls this off, no matter what happens in the co and main event, Suga will be the topic of conversation on Monday. Here we are. What can you do? Shout to everyone that won, man. What a freaking card, man. What a freaking card. Love it. Love it. Best sport in the world. Best sport in the world for this reason. I think some of the stuff on Suga Sean too, I know I keep going back to Suga, but it's important. I think some of the stuff on Suga too is the media and the fan base. You know, and even when I heard this fight was announced, like, Jesus Christ, why would they take that fight? What a bad matchup. And then you take your bias out for it, and I love Suga, and he knows this, and I text him, and he's a buddy. Even all that said, once I took all that away, and then you break the fight down, like, it's not terrible. I can see how Suga can win this fight. Out of the top five, even though it's Petr Yan, this Russian savage, I can see how Suga's going to win this fight. I can see him getting it done. I can see how he gets it done. But if you don't have the perspective of how Suga can win, and you were like, oh, he's just gonna get annihilated, he's gonna go in there, I bet it's not even a fight, I bet he gets fucking crushed. And then after that first round, and even the dudes who do the BTS sports, who my favorites, my absolute favorites with Bisping, I love them. They're my favorite. The two British blokes, they're my favorites. Even they said they're sitting cage side and they're in media's row. And after the first round, they all looked around and went, holy shit, how good is Suga Sean? Oh my God. Oh, we got a fight on it. Oh, I didn't think this was going to be nobody thought it was going to be a fight. If you're not a Suga fan, everyone went, oh my God. So I think that has something to do with all this backlash of Suga right now, where everyone was surprised that just not only did he show up, but he won. Not only did he show up, but he won rounds. Not only did he show up, but you guys thought he was going to get absolutely starched. And that first round, even if you're a Suga hater, you went, you couldn't, there's no way after that first round you looked around and went, Petr Yan all day easy. That was the easy one, right? Petr Yan dominated, man. That was such an easy round for Petr Yan. Nobody said that. So I think part of this backlash is everyone was like, oh, shit, we have a fight on our hands. And everyone was surprised. And they're like, what's happening here? And it's kind of skewed your vision on how you scored the fight. Because now you're just looking at the fight going, oh, Suga, yeah, he's not getting his ass whooped. But you need to go back and watch it. And not only is he not getting his ass whooped, beating his ass. On the feet, beating his ass. Significant strides, beating his ass. Damage done, he's beating his ass. Except for the second round. First and third, beating his ass. Dim the rules. Dim facts. Great card. What else you got, Chen?
Also over the weekend was the John Lineker for Fabricio Andrade fight.
Right? No contest, accidental groin
shot. That actually
worse.
That actually broke his cup.
Jesus,
which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I'll show you the actual hit.
Talking a cup from like Dick's Sporting Goods, just one of those steel Muay Thai.
Can you imagine if it was steel and they broke it? Mm-hmm. That'd be insane. Here we go.
In this world title fight in the bantamweight division.
That stomach.
Oh, big shot.
Missed
in trouble against the fence. Oh, he got him again. And then low. 2 low.
Shame is because that Andrade was doing work too.
He's doing work. I mean, Lineker did pretty well too. He hit him with some really big shots, but that guy was just faster, younger, accurate. Yeah. So it's a no contest.
The next big one is November 18th, yeah?
Somewhere, yeah. I believe it is in November. Yep. Abasal versus Lee. That's Angeli's brother, who's champion. Mm-hmm. November 18th and November 19th. Alrighty. going back to the TJ Dillashaw shoulder thing. So I guess TJ told, well, everyone knows now that in retrospect that he did have this issue for a while. It popped out over 20 times. He told the ref ahead of time that, hey, most likely my shoulder's going to pop out, so we're going to put it back in. Don't stop it.
Yeah.
And then Dana White was saying that he had no idea that his shoulder had issues, and
Nor would he.
And he should have told us or something like that. But
it's tough because he tells you he probably pulled the card. He's not the main, he's not the co-main event of this huge card. Probably not getting a title shot. Again, I can see how people are upset at TJ, but if you put yourself in TJ's shoes, at his age, I'm with TJ. And listen, I would be willing to bet. I don't know who. I don't see social media. I would assume no elite fighter was like, I can't believe TJ took the fight. Every single fighter worth their fucking salt would step up and take that fight, especially if you're in TJ's shoes. Every single fighter, and it's not on the UFC. The commission. They don't know. They don't check every joint. Like there's like any injuries to report, and you're like, nope. Like cool. They check your heart rate. They check your blood pressure. They do like a weird eye test. You're good to go.
And
it's so easy to get out of that.
And he looked to be in really great shape.
Yeah.
However, the one thing I was wondering about is like if he's telling the ref like it's most likely going to pop out, isn't it? I don't want the ref to stop it.
It's not on the ref's job though either.
Oh, okay.
Like the ref isn't going to go up to Dana and be like, hey, TJ.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Or he's not going to go up to the commission and be like, hey, TJ. Like the ref is like, oh, okay. Good to know. Like Travis Brown fight, I told the ref, I'm like, I messed my neck up in camp. My neck, if I get hit on, I'm fucked, man. Just be aware of that. If you see my neck in a compromised position, I told him probably stop the fight.
Yeah.
That's the difference between TJ.
Smart though.
Hey, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
My neck's all fucked up. So if it gets worse, definitely stop this thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's smarter for your life. But okay, so Charles Oliveira, he released a statement after the loss, and it's not that long. So he goes, I haven't slept yet because naturally I've been reflecting on everything that happened. Thank you so much to all the people that have sent me both positive and negative messages. The criticism is part of this crazy sport. I'll go home now, dedicate myself to train and conquer once again. Thank you to everyone that texted me. And then he goes on to say something like, at the very end is what I thought was interesting. He goes, thank you so much. I will dedicate myself to return stronger and conquer to please everyone. So it's like he's doing it for, his country.
I get it.
People.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on him too, being the face of MMA, especially face of UFC Brazil. There's a lot of pressure that comes to that. And he's a superstar out there. It's different than being a champ here. It just is. Brazil really honors their champ and stuff like that. I think for Charles Oliveira, the next move would be, I think Dariush, Charles Oliveira is the fight to make. If Dariush beats him, for the love of all things holy, give him a title shot.
Yeah.
But I think if they want to, they're not giving him a title shot next because Makhachev and homeboy Volkanovski's going to tie that up. So and when there's super fights like that, it holds the division up. But I think if you want to make it very clear, you could do Dariush versus Charles Oliveira on that Perth card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Neither one of them are injured. You could do that.
And this I thought was really cool. This is his team with Oliveira during his weight cut. And there's like a gazillion people around him. They're all essentially looking like
blonde.
They're praying.
Who are the haters that don't have the blonde hair dyed? Who's not drinking the
Maybe
Kool-Aid?
they're allergic.
How
Who knows?
dare you?
But there's so many people that did their hair blonde. That's kind of crazy.
It's so cool, man.
And I'll play this audio for you, or this video real quick too. When he made weight.
So this makes more sense when it comes to his kind of explanation to what. Sorry, I let you down. I'm doing this for he has such rabid support.
Yeah,
like friends and family, and they all believe in him. And think about it, they all fly out there. They're Abu Dhabi. It's a lot of pressure, man. You feel like you let everybody down.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He fought Islam. It's all good.
Yeah, he fought a killer.
Yeah, the killer.
Yeah. You saw this video by now, I'm guessing.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, good.
Jesse on Fire, when we were headed back, I think from my show, because he stayed for the show, when we were headed back to the hotel, he was like, man, how about, originally, I thought he was talking, I just wasn't paying attention. I was staring out the window looking at Mormons in Salt Lake. But I thought he was saying Makhachev got into it with a teammate. I'm like, God, what teammate fights with the one that just won a world championship? Mm-hmm. So is Khamzat getting a fight with one of Khabib's teammates?
Yeah, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, who fought on the card and won his fight already. So, but I guess there's a long history. Something happened where it actually involves Khamzat Kadyrov, the crazy dictator dude. I guess he was doing some sort of live feed, and then he said something about Khabib, and then Khamzat said something like, "Don't worry, I'll tear him up, or we'll tear him up," like kind of going against Khabib. So Khabib's cousin wrote something to him, and then it started. It was like years. I think it was years ago.
Wow.
But eventually, so they saw each other here today.
First, and then Khabib's cousin's way smaller, right?
Not too much smaller. I'll show you this video real quick though. You'll see. I'll show you which ones are which.
And this is
at the event.
is that? Yeah, he's bald with the polo on the. And then where's? Pause it.
Yeah.
Which one's which?
So this is Khamzat with the hat.
Oh, I thought Khamzat was bald in the blue polo with the beard.
No. So
that's Khamzat on the hat.
Yeah, and
who's the guy? The bald guy. Who's the next UFC champion? The bald guy there. So there's Khamzat in the black shirt, black
right
hat.
Here, yep.
And then where's
this guy right here.
Okay.
This is Abu Bakr.
Some Chechnyan, Dagestani crime. Oh, he's calling him out.
So they're actually holding hands right here so far.
I always ask God, but He gave me always more than what I ask. Alhamdulillah.
Man,
that's the main video. Yeah. So, but they're referencing their beef from before, like way back. The whole thing with his cousins defending Khabib, and then
he's probably like, "Hey, man, I know what you said. Like, let's not, And then Khamzat's probably like, "F you," and then put in Chechnyan or whether they speak, and then it was on.
Yep.
Those are two tough gentlemen,
indeed. But afterwards, they squashed the beef. I guess Khabib had to intervene, and so did that guy Khamzat Kadyrov.
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah. And then you can see them in a video later on.
Why's that Khamzat guy always look like he's hunting? Even though he's the president of...
I don't know what he is. He's a dictator.
He's a dictator. He always just looks like he's on a hunting trip.
Yeah, he's
always in camouflage. Mm-hmm. So they FaceTime him like, "Hey, we're buddies."
I guess so. And Khabib also intervened. There was a video with them all together. So it's all good now.
I mean, yeah, if Khabib tells you to fucking tighten up, you better tighten up.
And then also...
Did you hear what Khabib told Makhachev too? Where did I see this at? I saw an interview Khabib told Makhachev, and I guess it was maybe during the press conference, something like that, and he was like, "Yeah, you have 2 weeks off. You get 2 weeks off, you became champ, cool, but now the work starts. Like, if you're going to be the greatest of all time, now the work starts. Like, we got work to do." It's just that mindset. You're like, Jesus Christ. Savages.
Yeah.
I'd take a hard month off. I'd be in Fiji. I'd be in Dubai. Dick skin all out. It'd be crazy.
A lot of people showed up there to the fights at Abu Dhabi. Like Steve Harvey was there. You saw Steven Seagal there.
I saw Steven Seagal, makes sense, but Steve Harvey's a random one. And Steve Harvey, if you notice, he was texting the entire fight. It drives me nuts.
Oh, really?
It's Steve Harvey. You look like a giant walrus. You're just texting the entire fight? You have ringside tickets to this caliber fight, and you're going to who are you texting? If it's texting your daughter, I understand.
She's a
and what's this?
That's all them together.
The men in black?
That's Abu Bakr, and there's Khamzat right there. So everyone's cool.
And then the leader, Khabib, just in the middle, like, come get some.
Yeah. And so this I thought was funny too. So Paulo Costa wrote this on his Instagram. This is the reason he thought they fought. He put...
Paulo's the best looking fighter and best middleweight. Don't be mad he stole your Had Gourmet Chen. It looks way better on him.
So I had to really...
The beard?
That's what I was... Okay, I was trying to figure... I had to go do a deep dive to figure out what he meant.
Paulo's hilarious.
He stole your... He meant to say, don't be mad he stole your hat. Because, Khamzat took off his hat.
Yeah.
So I guess he made a reference to stealing your hat. I don't know if it has anything to do with the Jake Paul stuff, but he goes, Gourmet Chen. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So he posted this a while ago. This is what Nate Diaz with Jake Shields. And he goes, look at those guys, Jake Shields, Nate Diaz. Nate is a real gangster, not Chimaev. He lives in Sweden with a couple nerds. He's just a gourmet Chen cake. So he meant a gourmet Chechen.
Chechen cake.
And he called him gourmet because you know how he gained a ton of weight. He couldn't lose. Remember, he missed weight by a lot.
Right.
So he's saying like a gourmet, like someone that loves
deep
food.
Callback.
I know.
Deep callback.
Yeah, and this I thought was interesting too. So so Dana White stopped the press conference because of a behind the stage or behind the scenes brawl. So this one he kind of said it was like whatever. This is what fighters do when he's talking.
Now it's okay, huh?
It was funny.
What do I even say about that? It happens, especially with Khamzat. It happens.
Hold on.
What explains why Khamzat was sent in typical section dedicated for UFC fighters? He was sitting on our side. I didn't even know Khamzat was coming tonight. He was invited here by Abu Dhabi. So the seats behind me here in Abu Dhabi are owned by Abu Dhabi.
And then
That's what we do here. That's what we do. This is a rough business. Mean things are said. Sometimes guys get into it. It's our job, you see, to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen. We went right on it and couldn't stop it from happening, but we got in there. These things happen. When you get 800 alpha males and females under contract, sometimes they cross paths at events. These things happen. Doesn't bother me or hurt my feelings or any of that stuff. I would never cancel a weigh-in over a fight. We handle it and move on. I made up that stop the fight weigh-in, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah, so he's kind of like, whatever, it happens. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting.
He said, Chechens are going to Chechnya, man. What do you want me to do?
And this is essentially Dana White confirming that Conor McGregor is not in the testing pool. That's why he's not being tested. I don't know. Usually you have to be retired, right, to not be tested?
You have to notify me you're not going to get tested and
Yeah.
retired. That's so, it's getting murky waters.
Yeah,
Whatever
so-
yacht Conor's on, the waters are murky as far as the drug testing goes. I wonder if he just pulled out. He saw, I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing something to recover. Don't be testing me. So I'm going to have to back out. And he says, like, all right, we'll make sure you don't say you're retired. We don't want to scare the fans. And then once you're fully recovered, come back in the testing pool, make sure you're clean. That's what's going on.
It's very sketchy. It's very weird. So I'll play this clip
Damn,
for
so
you.
he's out 6 months. John Jones, he's not fighting December either. Like two of their big boys, man. It's frustrating.
Okay, let me play this real quick. This is from an MMA Junkie reporter. It's that girl. I forgot her name. Farah something.
Okay.
Oh.
Speaking of USADA, it appears on the database that Conor McGregor hasn't been tested this year. Would he have to complete 6 months before he can compete? Or
Yeah,
how's that work?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he can't return until 6 months.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
You know what's funny is if this didn't become transparent, Conor's fighting for 6 months.
I know,
And
that's
now
why
that
I'm-
it's come out, he's like, yeah, fuck, it is
You
6
can even
months.
tell.
You're right. He's like, yep, good eye. Fuck.
That's their best escape for
Yeah.
like why he is not being tested.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, he
Like,
wasn't.
yeah, he pulled himself out of it. Oh, so he's retired? Nobody said that.
I know. And this is Conor's reaction to.
I know Conor's the best at making himself relevant during other people's success, right? And it's one of the reasons you love him, also one of the reasons you hate him. It's tough too with this narrative. And no, you listen, I love Conor McGregor. You guys know this. I'm a big Dublin dick ride on Conor, but you know, here this one, nice fight, nice performance. I have built all the tools to beat his style now. Versus before experience for shit. Face breaking shots from clinch, baby brain batter shots from the bottom. The rest of my repertoire: use nose, steal left leg, cannon backhand, wrist control. Oof, I don't.
I know.
So you're gonna cut to 55. Not only gonna cut to 55, but you've been off how long? You saw the drug testing, which might be a benefit, but you're on these yachts, you're in these Gucci sheets. You're gonna sign up to face Makhachev. Yeah, I mean, again, this is his thing. Of course, he does this, and I expected this. But just like, man. The thought of shutting down the system of fighting with my own developed system is quite intriguing to me. Whoever of them against, it's not personal. It's a skill evaluation, a fight. Even through generations, the EMAFs, amateurs, a war of attrition to the box. I have the system to hurt the style of fighting. Guys, I'm telling you, bro is a shit jocks, fat mouth, shut your mouth. You done nothing tonight except go against father's wishes and run. It's not father's plan completed yet, pal. You know, your people know and they talk about you.
So he's bringing up Khabib's dad right now too,
Yeah,
which
it's
is like
weird, man.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Now, I mean, to Conor's defense, he did do the best against Khabib, but that's how dominant Khabib was. Even though, maybe give Conor 2 rounds, 1, but still dominant. He got beat for the majority of the fight, but that's how good Khabib was. Like, yeah, Conor didn't do terrible. That's how fucking good Khabib was. My 2 old belts on 2 little ticks. This fight does 10 buys. Ooh, I just.
That's just Conor talking about Islam and Volkanovski.
But again, this is Conor, so he makes him relevant, right? People like when he does this stuff. But it's tough. Same thing with John. It's like John and Conor, who I love, knows Khabib doesn't do this, right? And he doesn't care. It's never been his thing. But with John and Conor, it's like whenever things are getting going, right? They send out a tweet, right? And they delete it, do stuff. It keeps them relevant in the zeitgeist of MMA fighting, right? But it's also like you gotta fight, fellas. Like at a certain point, if you're not fighting, I don't care. Like you guys gotta fight. Eventually, you just gotta fight. Otherwise, I don't care what you're tweeting out. If it's a year and you have injuries, or whatever, and with John, like going to heavyweight, taking a year, okay, 2 years, whatever. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Like, tweets like these, I think, are just kind of just the funny ones.
That's
but
just
the other
Conor
ones,
doing his thing. Yeah, the other one going against the dad. Eesh.
Yeah. What do you think as far as the odds?
If I was the odd maker, I would
Islam.
have Islam probably a 2-1 favorite, maybe slight 3-1, like minus 300.
Here we have DraftKings, Makhachev minus 400 favorite, the comeback.
4-1 underdog, yeah.
Yeah. And Volkanovski plus 300.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Okay, so I just saw this pop up recently too. Dan Hardy, he was on a podcast and he was saying stuff about the Nate Diaz Chimaev fight and Dana White. Like I'll show
Him
you
and
something
Dana got
here.
into it too. Didn't Dana was like he's just mad because he got aggressive with a woman. Then Dan Hardy was like, "How dare
I didn't
you?"
do anything. Yeah,
he was like, first of all, the woman, which all her coworkers know, and listen, Dan Hardy's not a liar, but Dan Hardy's like, first of all her peers all know what kind of person she is. She was taking work away from me, and I called her out in front of everybody, embarrassed her. Mm-hmm. He was like, and then, I don't know what she told Dana, but I didn't get to express my version of the story to Dana, so all I heard is her side. And so the next thing I know, I got fired.
yeah.
So Dan Hardy put out mistreating a woman at Dana White, ? How dare you accuse me of such a thing, which is not the way to go. If it's not true, my God, Dana, you know this Me Too movement shit. Why would you go down that alley, man? Clear proof that you were told lies about what happened and why they steered all the Dan Hardy questions away from you. Yeah,
Responding to that. So, anyways, let's skip the Nate Diaz Chimaev thing. That was just more of Dan Hardy saying like they knew they were fucking up by putting that match together, and then later on they're like he feels as if they did something shady to make that fight not happen. Kind of like where I guess they knew that he would
Dana
get
and Nate?
get destroyed.
I'm saying, with Nate and
Chimaev,
Khamzat. That again. I don't give a flying fuck, and somehow I became the face of this conspiracy. It has nothing to do with it. I truly think that the UFC overplayed their hand there. They thought, they were going to make an example of Nate and give him Khamzat. It was a terrible matchup. They thought that was going to sell because Nate's fan base. And, I said, if you're not Nate fan, the way you fight this is don't buy the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. It was such a mismatch. It wasn't trending how they thought and they were going to lose money. Like, we got to do something here. I, gun to the head, truly think they were like, we got to switch this up. People aren't feeling this. And also, not to mention that, as retired fighters are coming up with these lawsuits and trying to sue us, this is going to give them more fuel to fire to come after us down the road. Like if Nate retires and was like, look what you guys did to me, this just shows this kind of receipts. It shows this trail of them, really, really, screwing fighters over. So I think that, like, the smart thing to do here, man, is switch it up.
Switch it up.
And that's what they did.
Yeah, that's
and I'm glad they did. Mm-hmm. So he put, imagine if Nate had gotten really bad, he hurt straight away, it had been at cast a shadow over the UFC, would have been all over the news in a negative way. It would have made us all feel uncomfortable because we knew it was happening. Agree. It was fortunate that the MMA got shined down on us that day, but I also feel like there was some meddling in the background to make sure that didn't happen, because I think the closer the fight got, the more the UFC realized how much they were going to bury themselves if Nate got hurt. Couldn't agree more.
Then he also said that he believes that when Calvin Kattar and Max Holloway fought, Kattar was getting pretty messed up during that
Hell
fight.
Yeah,
right?
that was awful.
So Dan Hardy believes there's a video that the UFC made that made it look like Dana White was really like concerned about Kattar and wanted him to go to the hospital and this and that, but he feels like it was sort of staged. It wasn't like a real video. I'll show you the clips real quick. So I'll play parts of these.
I don't know how much more fucking damage I want to see Kattar take.
No, he's taking a lot of punishment.
And then he goes back behind the scenes here.
So much fucking punishment in this fight. I'm freaking out a little bit, man. I don't like it. This reminds me of the kind of the fight where the fight's over and he walks them back and fucking dies. Yeah. And I think that fucking Herb Dean should have stopped it in the fourth round. Yeah.
I don't want to play too much of it because it's UFC stuff, but he's basically saying that he thinks, okay, why is the camera on them so perfectly? Why are they mic'd up so perfectly to where he can hear all that stuff? He could be like he's really doing it.
Is he shooting his show?
Yeah, he's doing.
I think the problem, the caveat there is, right, this, again, there's confirmation bias. So whoever you don't like, you can find certain things where you can confirm something, and maybe. I don't know. I don't watch any of Dana's content, but not because I don't like him. I don't have the time. I also don't care. right? I'm trying to make my own content. So I don't know if Dana's done this before where he's shown concern for fighters or not. But if you want confirmation bias, you can play that clip and like, look at this bullshit. I don't know if it's bullshit. I would assume the majority of the people in that arena were concerned about Calvin Kattar. Like that, that was a bad fight.
Yeah, we all were.
So for the president of the UFC to be like, hey man, this ain't good. This is bad. And maybe shooting a show, because I did see Din Thomas there and Matt Serra, then shoot the show.
Yeah.
It's tough to say it was staged.
That
doesn't seem like a thing Dana would do, It's also the right thing to do.
I don't think he's saying like they made everything up. I think they made it look like they're just shooting Dana White and them looking like Dana White's really like, worried about stuff. Like instead of not shooting him, like with the microphone on him and, the camera's perfectly placed, they wanted him to sound like that and look like it, like a guy who's really caring about.
So this is Dana responding. He goes, I can't tell you we've never staged anything ever.
That's another thing too. Like, come on, I'm sure.
I know. We have a documentary that we filmed during COVID. That's why I was mic'd. I've never been mic'd. I was mic'd because of that. Yeah, maybe they're doing the doc because they're the only major sports league to continue during the pandemic, which, hats off to them for pulling that off. Are you talking about when I was talking about let's get him straight to the hospital? Do you know how many fights a week I say that to the UFC Chief Business Officer, Hunter Campbell? And the Dr. Davidson, shout out to Dr. Davidson. No interviews, no nothing. That guy goes straight to the hospital. Everybody should have been concerned about Calvin Kattar that night. Yeah, again, there's a lot of confirmation bias. He was mic'd up for a documentary. That fight just so happened it was a really rough one. That's a tough sell for me. Yeah. I love Dan Hardy, and I'm down to go wherever he wants to steer the ship with him. But that one's tough.
It was a little tough. I mean, yeah, I think the headlines made it seem as if Dan Hardy's saying that everything's like fake, but it's just more him pointing out why did they have to have a perfect shot of Dana White? They want to make Dana White look like a guy that cares about people more.
I do think Dana cares, but I also I do. I think he cares about
fighters,
certain fighters.
Okay,
I think he does. He does care about certain fighters. I know that for a fact. And other ones he doesn't give a flying shit about. And then certain times as a business owner, he does have to protect his business, even though he's not the majority owner, but he's still the face of the company. Yeah. So, yeah, man, he's like, hey, man, they let this thing go and that kid dies in the back, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So it's more of that. That's more of business concerns.
That, yeah.
Also, if you look at over all the content Dana's ever put out, I would imagine the majority of it is going to paint him in a good light. So you can take things for confirmation bias. Like, well, look at this. How fake does this look? It's like, tough sell for me.
All right, a few fight announcements. So Dana White mentioned that Colby Covington and Khamzat, he wants that on the undercard or, maybe a co-main or something for the Edwards Kamaru card.
Oof. My God.
A co-main, yeah.
I'm more excited for Colby versus Khamzat than I am Leon Edwards Kamaru 3. I think Kamaru's going to do work. Now, Khamzat, Colby, that's a trucking fight, son.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight.
We're going to learn a lot about Khamzat in that fight, which I'm excited for.
And
when is that London card?
It's February, I believe. Oh, no, March, London.
March, man. February and March are getting thick. It's February. I think February is that Perth pay-per-view. They have Islam and
Volkanovski
is your main event. And they have this, and you have Kamaru and Leon Edwards.
Insane. And this was pretty interesting, too. Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon at UFC 282 December.
It's a good step up in competition for Paddy because Jared Gordon is a real vet.
He's legit, so this will probably be
he's gonna have his hands full.
Yeah.
We'll fight again. I love these fights for these young fighters in their career. We're gonna find a lot out about Paddy now.
And Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa on that Perth card, UFC 284. Oh, so this is later than 284. No, never mind. February 11th.
Yep, February. The same card, your main event, and that's a co-main event. It just said added. Yeah, booked. So that's your main event if they can't figure out the Volkanovski Makhachev, but that's a great main event.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good fight.
Damn good fight.
I love that fight.
And then I'm sure you know about this already too, but Bo Nickal's debut, his actual UFC debut.
I know, he got injured. Pull him off. I know. I don't know what happened there. I talked a little bit about it on
Fight Companion?
On Fight Companion, yeah. It's all good.
Yeah. And they don't know if it's going to be, when he comes back, if it's going to be his original opponent, Jamie Pickett, or someone else, but we'll find out, I guess, later.
So his promotion plans to rebook the former Nittany Lion for UFC 285. And that's in March. Yeah, I dig that.
And this is a pretty cool one from Bellator. They're bringing 5 of their fighters to fight Ryzen fighters for their New Year's Eve card. So it's going to be their badass fighters too. AJ McKee, Patricio Pitbull, Juan Archuleta, Kyoji Horiguchi, and then maybe one more.
That's fun. Damn, Bellator's bringing over the heavy hitters.
Yeah, to fight another organization.
I love that.
Yeah. I thought this was already like a known thing, but UFC has an updated athlete code of conduct where they're saying that if you're a fighter, your camp, everyone cannot bet on your fights. If you even bet on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was common sense. I mean, I could understand, if you're a slight underdog or whatever, even if you're a favorite and you're putting, 20 G's on yourself because you think you're starch the guy. The problem with that is you got to think as an umbrella, because a lot of guys, maybe if they're big underdog and they're putting a ton of money on themselves and to purposely lose, like that's where the Pete Rose shit.
The losing.
That, again, it can't be an umbrella where, well, they're only about themselves to win. No, we got to see what's going on here. Can't have the camp doing it. It's no shit.
I figured
other news say UFC says you can't bet on the fights if you're the UFC. No shit. Yeah. Just like the NFL can't bet on their games. MLB can't bet on themselves.
But also, even their team, or not teammates, but their coaches or whatever, I guess, they can't bet on it.
I'm with it. Yeah, no shit. And now, DraftKings be legalized in all states. Like, can't have it.
Yeah, they say gambling's being legalized in a lot more places
can't have it.
This was on MMA Hour, Yuri Prohashka. He said he went 3 days without food and in the darkness to confront his demons. He only had water, and this is the room right there. He has a little belt inside.
What a savage. What a fucking... I saw this headline, like, I would never.
That sounds insane.
I could never. 3 days?
I couldn't do it.
How did you sleep? Let me see that setup.
Oh, yeah. It's just a bed.
That bed kind of looks pretty comfy. There's two books.
But I mean, it's in the dark.
Just a real warrior. I mean, put himself in solitary confinement for the fucks of it. Just get his mind right.
Yeah, just to find himself.
And what do you say? It's very helpful. There's just you, no other people. That was my first time when I did that without food. So just with water, it's much more strong when you're without food. All the process in your body is much stronger. Your mind's working a lot, and you have to die here first. And 3 days, 4 days, that's not so much. But I'm using that just to recognize who I am really, and then I can start training, pushing to the next level. Wow. Yeah, savage.
Yeah.
I think he mollywops Glover.
Glover for the second time, yeah.
Yes.
So there were rumors that potentially Bobby Green and Ilir Latifi were cut from the UFC because they were missing from the roster. That's now, I guess, debunked. Bobby Green, I guess since he has to serve a suspension, they just kind of take you off the roster.
2 years, right?
No, 6 months.
Oh, only 6 months? That's not bad.
It was only DHEA. It wasn't like he's, popping
But
steroids.
then didn't what homeboy got kicked off the UFC card like before weigh-ins? Remember that? What happened to him? He was on the undercard and they literally like he's out and cut him.
I think that was...
I think he had another contract issue.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of his other contract.
Right. UFC's like, we're not going to go for legal to deal with this.
There's Japanese fighter.
Yeah, it's like that heavyweight. Remember that heavyweight the UFC signed, and then the manager was like, "Well, no, I still own his rights." And UFC's like, "All right, forget it."
Yeah, so I think that was Ilir's opponent. I think, but anyways, Ilir, I guess he knew he had staff, but when he fought,
the TV's looking thick.
He's super thick.
Wow, my God, he's thick. He's so strong.
But so he had staph infection, and he kind of said it during like the post-fight interview.
Fighters fight with staph all the time.
Yeah, but he admitted it. So once he admitted it, the commission said you're going to be you're not supposed to be fighting with staph and admitting it. So he's suspended. I'm not sure how long his suspension.
Now a lot of fighters will fight with staph because the antibiotics for staph drain you.
Yeah.
If you remember, Hodger Gracie, he had it, and it was like, guy looks really slow and his cardio is awful. It wrecks your cardio, wrecks your energy. Like there's a lot of guys like, I'm just gonna deal with the staph till I get through the fight, and you got to pray to God it doesn't spread. And then you end up like, rest in peace, Kevin Randleman.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that staph.
Oh, that was horrific.
If it starts getting the bloodstream, super dangerous. But, again, how many people listening to this would do that? If you get staph, you're not going to take the antibiotics because you want to get to the fight because you need the money. How many fighters are going to fight with one arm like TJ Dillashaw? Like fighters are different animals. So all this backlash to TJ and stuff like that, you're not a professional cage fighter at the highest level that pays for their family's mortgage and your food. So before you get all mad and get upset at TJ, you got to realize these guys are cut from a different cloth. That's why you pay to watch them. The TV staff, anyone else here, comic, podcaster, Joe Blow, working at Starbucks, you're going to get antibiotics. Ruins your cardio? Cool. Oh, it doesn't give me energy? Cool. I don't give a shit. These guys, they give a shit.
Yeah.
It's going to affect their performance.
I think only difference here is that when you have staff, you can potentially infect the other person. That's why they're frowning on this.
But yeah, it's not deadly, and if you take care of it right. I mean, fighters, jiu-jitsu guys, wrestlers deal with staff their entire lives, and they're very good at it.
Yeah. You mentioned TJ. I heard a little bit of Luke Thomas talking about it. He said that if he knew his shoulder was that bad, his team and everyone should have stopped him from doing it because it's going to ruin his career forever now. Because he had 2 surgeries already, like both shoulders. And coming into this, to let him fight, it was on the coaches to like take him off that card.
It's on the fighter.
That's what I'm saying. So when you were pointing out your point, it does seem like TJ is the last straw. If he wants to do it, he wants to do it.
And everyone has to go along with it. Now, if he gets like knocked out and he's this young fighter and he's fighting the main event, and I wish my team would have took me to the side. I got knocked out before I was fighting Ben Rothwell and Nogueira by Shane Carwin during training. I'm talking knocked out. Yeah. And that was like a week before. This should have been like, this ain't good, man. You get clipped, you're going to be fucked. But no one said anything.
But also, if you want to do it, you're going to do it.
Yes and no. If it's at that time I was a young fighter, and I was on this big win streak, that ended up hurting my career more than helping. But in TJ's case, you got to realize he's 34, 35, probably not going to get a title. Title shot's different. Title shot's a different animal. Title shot, I'm not mad that he fought with one arm. Title shot's different. At his age, the injuries, who knows if he can get back there. Young fight, like let's say Patty had a shoulder injury or Suga Sean had a shoulder injury or that young kid that they just signed off Contender Series or Bo Nickel, like who are just getting started, it ain't worth it. Take your time. Get heal up, bring your best self to the octagon. These veterans, you don't get a lot of opportunities. You got to fight through it.
And it is title shot, you're right. So this I thought was very interesting. Dada 5000 is returning again.
Hell yes.
To bare knuckle BYB.
Oh, he's my favorite.
You're going to love this.
You remember when he fought Kimbo?
Yeah.
And then people were like, what's thing can happen? But did you die? He's like, yeah, I did, bitch. Yeah, I did. No, I did. I didn't do cardio right and literally died.
By the way, that was his last fight.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he's returning from that.
You got that cardio right?
Dude, check out his cardio.
He's looking thick right there.
Check out his stats according to him. Wait, let's go past all this. This is what I thought was really funny. Works out at the gym 2 to 3 hours a day, presses 225 pounds 30 times with ease, and he runs a 4.4 to 4.5 40-yard dash.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Definitely run a 4.4 Dada 5000, but also work out 2-3 times a day, or 2 to 3 hours a day in the gym. I work out 2-3 hours a day in the gym. Yeah, standard. We all do when we're competing at a professional level. Can bench press 225 30 times. How much does he weigh?
With ease.
How much does he weigh?
Like, I don't know, he's got to be close to 300.
Not
right?
that impressive, but also good for you, but also I assume that. The one caveat out of all this is run the 40 and 4.4. The guy that timed you, or your mom that timed you, she's lying to you. Or she just don't know how to. Now listen, I'm not calling him a liar. I'm saying the person that's holding the clock's a liar and doesn't know what they're doing.
Some missteps there.
Same thing, just Chappelle Lacey was my feature forever and was on Fire the Kid, said he ran a 4.3 or 4.4 in the 40. I went, Chappelle, I'm not calling you a liar. I'm calling your gym coach a liar.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty hilarious. And by the way, that's his organization, BYB Extreme. And I've looked everywhere online. I can't find what BYB means. No,
Backyard Brawls.
Oh my gosh, dude. Good stuff, man. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Good stuff, man. Hey, here's the other thing. You got to be the only 45-year-old who runs a 4.4 in the 40. 45? At 300 pounds running a 4.4? Bro, you could go walk onto the fucking Georgia Bulldogs or the Miami Hurricanes. A 4.4 at 45 years old at 300 pounds?
I know.
Go try out for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. But it's not his fault. It's whoever timed him, right?
It's his mom holding the timer. Fuck them.
Okay, so this, I guess when Israel, this is not that new. Israel Adesanya's video of him doing a training method where his trainer's throwing like I think tennis balls at him and he's dodging
Seen
it.
that before?
Yeah, so that was a little while ago, and then fans did give him a hard time for it. So now Alex Pereira, his next opponent, he's mocking him. So I'll show you Israel's thing first. So this is the original video.
Let's just work on reaction time. Clearly, it's not a fight.
Slow-mo. So then this is Alex Pereira.
Just a reaction drill. Okay.
Alex Pereira is making fun of him here.
So silly. Slow down and just not throwing at him at all. He's funny, man. Listen to the music.
It's a lot more of the same. And then he blindfolds himself and does the
His
same
coach
thing.
going, oh.
It's actually pretty funny, dude. Yeah.
That's funny.
This is a little clip on Mikey Musumeci, who won the first ever belt at one championship for grappling. He's challenging Sambo people. I'll just play the clip for you real quick.
There's a funny quote from Khabib. He said if Sambo was easy, it would be called Jiu-Jitsu. So let's have the Sambo guys compete with the Jiu-Jitsu people. Let me fight the top world champion of my weight class in Sambo, and let's see which is superior in the submission grappling format. Is a funny...
So he
Just
put that
the
challenge.
nicest call out of all time.
I know. So he put that challenge out on October 4th, and I don't know this guy, but I just looked. I'll let him speak. And he's like a Sambo guy, same weight class.
Hey guys, so I ran across Mikey Musumeci's Instagram reel calling out the #1 Sambist in his weight category. He's currently the 1 flyweight submission grappling champion, and I'm currently in a 3-way tie for the #1 64 kg Sambist in the world.
So a white
well
guy?
as I'm the Pan American
Just an American?
64 kg Sport Sambo champion. Mikey, I think we should get this done. We just need to talk about the rule set and when and where. See you on the mat.
Just the two nicest guys ever trying to prove the points. Nah, man, for Samba, I want a real hardcore Russian Dagestani against our boy Mikey. This
Yeah,
guy
that'd
must
be
be a
pretty
real
sick.
badass, though.
He said he's tied top 3 guys in Sambo.
Yeah, badass.
And these are just some kicks that were on during media day at UFC 280.
Hell yeah.
And since you know about kicks, tell me what you think of these. These are Sean's.
Those Valencias? Who's are those Sugars?
Yeah.
Valencias, what are those dunks?
Omar?
Walmart, yeah, those are like a high-end brand. I don't really mess with those.
Yeah. I didn't know much about them.
How dare Sean not wear his J Balvin?
He already
Jordan
sported them.
ones?
He already
I know,
sported them.
but still, could have brought him to Abu Dhabi, biggest fight of your life, and I supported you.
All right. Your boy Deontay Wilder, he's now in a music video. This is his song.
Yes.
Have you seen? Okay.
This makes my
Here we go.
No.
Production is great.
Did you check out that bathtub with his logo behind
I
it?
know.
Have you ever you watched 9 Day Fiance? There's a Nigerian. He's a. I think he's from Nigerian, and he does music, and it sounds identical. And he has this girl. She's like she's like 60. He's clearly trying to get his green card to come over here, but she has to fly to Africa and watch his music videos just with all these bitches. And they're gonna fight. It's not gonna work out.
So
But
similar.
his song sounds similar. Yeah, I'm not mad at Deontay's song there.
Yeah. Although there's Steven Seagal at UFC 280.
Hey, how do we get a hold of Steven Seagal for him to be the first sponsored thick boy.
He's like so thick now, yeah.
That boy.
He doesn't even look real anymore.
And he just wears that like sensei gi thing.
With a huge scarf.
He was a dime in the 80s. You ever see him in the 80s when he was all chiseled up in shape? Probably not eating carbs.
Like lean, big shoulders.
Yeah, now that boy is thick.
Super thick. Speaking of thick, Jake Paul posted this video recently calling out Tyson Fury.
Ever since I moved up to the heavyweight division, Tyson Fury been real quiet. Tyson Fury.
Oh, it's all fake.
Where the fuck you at, pussy? Boom!
He went through all that trouble just
to
make that short
the
little
beard,
video.
the titties, the tattoos, the stomach. I mean, his team probably did. He had to sit there and makeup, but still.
Yeah.
That's what he does. Remember, that's his job's being a boxer, but then also being a content creator. That's what's going on there.
And Jake,
favorite part of that when he goes,
And Jake is fighting this weekend against
Jake Paul Anderson Silva is this Saturday. We will have a fight companion, Calabasas fight companion. You have Frank Mir, Jesse on Fire, Sam Tripoli, myself doing a fight companion for Jake Paul Anderson Silva. The fight that makes me more excited than anything on this entire card is the co-main event, which is Uriah Hall versus Le'Veon Bell. Uriah Hall was a training partner of mine for years. He is a fucking savage. I hope Le'Veon Bell knows what he signed up for. And I know it's just boxing. There's no kicks, but Uriah Hall is a savage. I'm just excited for that one for a variety of reasons. But Jake Paul Anderson Silva, it's going to be a fun one. They also have Calvin Kattar and also Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, I've been on his British nuts for a hot second. He is my dark horse in the featherweight division. He beats Calvin Kattar. It's off to the races. Calvin's our boy. He's been on Food Truck a million times. Calvin, I love you. I don't like this matchup for him. I assume he's a slight underdog for a reason. And then you have Max Griffin, Tim Means, Fight of the Night written all over it. Yeah, Verenda, Waldo on there. That's a good one. And then also a great fight on this card, especially to kick off the main card, is Dustin Jacoby and Khalil Roundtree. Jacoby quietly has been starching people after coming off the Dana White Contender Series. Quietly racking up the wins. So he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he has one draw. So he's won 8 out of 9 fights. One was a draw. But since he's gotten to the UFC, he's undefeated. He's flying under the radar. And, I thought he was going to get a top 10 guy of the game, Khalil Roundtree. I think this is Khalil's last fight. I think he retired before, but it might be his last one. Khalil was on Food Truck, one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I absolutely love Khalil. And Jacoby has some Denver roots. So I hate that they're fighting each other. Room for my boy Khalil, for sure, though. So that's fight. You got performance of the night. He also has his business where he makes dope custom sneakers. He made me some red thick boy dunks. I'll wear those on the companion for him. I just got to remember. But shout out to Khalil. Go check him out. Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen, main event. So we're doing a fight campaign for how are we going to do it, Kay? So we're doing it just for the main event, and then.
You want to do? I think you like the top 3 fights, right? You want to do that?
They're fun. What time does it start at though?
5 PST.
5.
Mm-hmm.
And then when's Jake Paul start? 7.
It says 9 on Showtime, but I'm not sure what time.
I think it's 6 our time.
Is it?
Okay.
Sheesh. So, yeah, but if it's 6 our time, they won't probably walk till around 8. Maybe the co-main event 7:30.
Start at 5:30 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. We're gonna figure it out. But bottom line is, we're definitely doing a fight command for Jake Paul Anderson Silva and Uriah Hall and Le'Veon Bell, and then we might added the main event for Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen. But either way, the fight companion's going down. Calabasas fight companion. I would say 7 p.m. Pacific is the safe one, but we'll announce it if we do the main event for Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen. And you have Sam Tripoli, Jesse on Fire, Frank Mir, myself. Come tune in. Come get some. I'll be fresh off the plane from Calgary. This week I'm in Calgary. Thursday show damn near sold out right away, so we added a show Friday. That's at the Rooftop in downtown Calgary, Canada. I'm coming. I haven't been there a hot second. Calgary, Europe this Thursday, Friday. And then Saturday, we have the Fight Companion on Thick Boy YouTube. Next week, one of my favorites in the world, LOL, San Antonio, Texas, November 3rd through the 5th. I will be at the Hotel Emma, my favorite hotel on the planet. But San Antonio, Texas, the week after I'm in Houston, Texas at the Houston Improv, November 10th through the 12th. In San Antonio, Houston, we're hoping Calgary hopefully gets up there in time. But especially San Antonio and Houston. Houston and San Antonio are two of our biggest markets for Tiger Thick, that thick nectar. So we'll be doing meet and greets and signings and tastings at the Specs out there in San Antonio and Houston for both of those for the Tiger Thick whiskey. So come on out. We'll have bottles at each venue. We'll have more bottles. We sold out in the first 2 shows in Salt Lake City in the Tiger Thick. So we'll have more bottles in Calgary for you. Hopefully it makes it through customs. And then San Antonio and Houston, I can guarantee we'll have all the bottles. So anybody that wants to try that sweet nectar, we will have it in person, Tiger Thick in San Antonio and Houston. And you'll be able to come meet me, chill with me, chat with me, arm wrestle, what the hell you guys want to do, take pics, taste the Tiger Thick, and then also buy bottles of Tiger Thick at the Specs in San Antonio and Texas and Houston, Texas. I'll be blasting out on social media what Specs exactly I'll be at in Texas, but I'll let you guys know. And then we end November in Milwaukee. December's Providence, Rhode Island, and Washington, D.C. DC Improv with my faves. Tickets at thickboy.com. That's it, kids. If you missed the Salt Lake City Fight Command for the infamous UFC 280, go watch it right now. It's available on Thick Boy YouTube right now. We have a new Green Room Diary dropping about me being a free agent in religion and Mormons. That's dropping on my comedy channel. Be all over social media as well. I love you guys. Let me know what you think. Thanks for liking, subscribing. Be nice, be safe to each other. Go get you some Tiger Thick right now. Go to thickboy.com. It will show up at your house. Thickboy.com. That sweet nectar, Tiger Thick's available right now. All right, that's it, kids. Love ya. Oh, these tour shirts you see me wearing, we have it in this, like, what do you call it, peach. We got it in this, like, mint green, the new tour tees. You can only get those in person at the shows, along with the collab I did with Mike Stud. Save a Horse, Ride a Thick Boy, the hats, the tees, all that's available only in person. You got to come to the show. So Calgary, if you want it, come get it this Thursday, Friday. And then next week I'm in San Antonio and Houston. Tiger Thick, new merch, all available in person. Love you guys. Tickets for my tour, thickboy.com. That's it. Enjoy the fights this weekend. And make sure you tune in to the Calabasas Fight Campaign with Frank Mir, Jesse on Fire, and Sam Tripoli. Thick Boy YouTube, 7 p.m. Pacific. Unless I post otherwise if we're doing the other one. All right? That's it. Love you guys.
If you're into Thick Boys, like, subscribe, comment, and God bless America. Well, that's not my big one. Just kidding.